How's everything going, YouTube? And welcome back. So today we are going to be continuing to tour around the Magic Kingdom here in the MC Parks Minecraft server. And today we are going to be looking at a land spotlight on Liberty Square. Now, Liberty Square is kind of an interesting land, and it's one of those areas in the Magic Kingdom that, first of all, it is the only version of Liberty Square in the Disney parks. It's an original concept that was built for the Magic Kingdom, and like I said, is the only version. Liberty Square is an opening day land, and it's one of those areas that opened with the park. There's a lot of different things in terms of lore and history with this land, despite it being kind of a, I would say in most people's land, they would talk about what's your favorite land at the Magic Kingdom, and people will say Adventureland or Frontierland or Fantasyland or Tomorrowland. I think Liberty Square is sort of the forgotten land, and I think the reason, there's a couple of reasons for that. I think the first being, Liberty Square is kind of a it's an older concept. It's for people that are really into history. It's more of a history buff land, right? Because you've got, the nods to the Liberty Bell. You have the Hall of Presidents and things like that. And a lot of people in 2024 just aren't really that interested in that stuff anymore. I think that's more a sign of the times and a sign of just our culture and society is just not really as it's just not at the top of people's minds, for better or for worse. And I think it's a really good thing we have this here because it does show the history, and there aren't many places where you can see the history of the American history. It's just not something, it's kind of seen as a boring topic, and it's something that a lot of people just, like I said, it's not really an IP that I think if Disney were building a park today, I don't even know if Liberty Square would be built today. The main attractions here are obviously the show, which is the Hall of Presidents. It has every American United States president in animatronic form. There's a couple A100 animatronics, I think. Some of them including Barack Obama. And I'm trying to remember some of the other ones, but there's a couple of them. Of course, the main attraction that everyone thinks of here is the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion is the attraction at the end of the sort of street, and the Haunted Mansion is the marquee attraction here, for sure. And, it's kind of an interesting thing, the lore around the Haunted Mansion, which I'll be doing a full video on. But I really think it's one of those things where a lot of people maybe don't, they kind of just come in, go on Haunted Mansion, and they leave. I think a lot of the other stuff gets forgotten, like the Liberty Bell, which is right here, the Liberty Bell boat ride, and that is right here. They actually do meet and greets and things like that here as well, mostly for like the Christmas parties and the Halloween parties, but the Liberty Bell is right here. And I've never been on the Liberty Bell myself at the Magic Kingdom, and I think, again, it's kind of a testament to just people aren't actively seeking out these types of attractions, and they're more slow and educational, and it's something that a lot of people don't, that's not what they're looking for when they come to Disney, right? They want to ride the Moana ride, they want to ride the Frozen ride, they want to ride the Encanto ride, they want to ride the Peter Pan ride, the Winnie the Pooh ride, whatever it is, right? And I think that's just the way our world is today, right? It's just everything is quick, and not everything needs to be educational. We just want our fill and then move on to the next thing. And I think that's unfortunately a little bit of a testament to where we are today. Another interesting thing is there's a lot of lore around the street, and you might notice the street, why is there this weird pattern on the floor? In the actual Magic Kingdom, it's kind of there is a certain number of people that say this is the poop road. And basically in colonial times, they didn't have proper plumbing with toilets that flush and things like that. So everybody would leave their secretions out in the street. And that's sort of what this is supposed to represent. And I think that's always something that's kind of fun to tell people. There's been a lot of questions about, is it truly what that is or not? But I'm going to go with the story until I hear a really good story otherwise. Another interesting thing here, they have a couple of restaurants. And one of the restaurants here is, I believe this is the Liberty Tavern. And this is one of the many restaurants in the area. But like I said, you look at the landscape here, it's a fairly small area. It is kind of tucked in between Fantasyland and Frontierland, but I think it really deserves its recognition as a legitimate land. And I hope the future of this land is in Magic Kingdom, because, I mean, you look at the real estate here. This is really prime real estate in the Magic Kingdom. And if it gets ever to a point where people are just not visiting the area, you do wonder, would Disney ever consider ripping this out and putting some kind of IP that kind of connects with the Haunted Mansion? And maybe they turn this into like a villain's land, and then you have the Haunted Mansion at the end of it. And I really hope they don't do that. But you never know with Disney. That's always something that is on the table, and you never really know when we're going to look back in 10 years from now and say they would never do that. But, things do happen, things change, and depending on what happens with Bob Iger, who knows the next direction of the Disney company whenever the next CEO comes in. It could be a very different Disney park experience, and their mentality on a land like Liberty Square, you never really know. And talking, I just did a video on Splash Mountain, and eventually that video will be coming out to you guys. But it's one of those things that, we never know with the way, like an attraction like the Hall of Presidents, is that attraction ever going to become controversial to the point where Disney says, we don't want this anymore? And I think that's really a shame if they ever do, because it does have so many connections to Walt and Walt Disney with, the first audio animatronic he had, which was Mr. Lincoln. The fully, automatic human. So it is a little bit of a nod to that, and it would be a shame if they got rid of it. But, I don't know, it's always one of those things that's kind of an interesting what if, and I'd love to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.